A news flash, breaking news. Chris Christie is no longer governor. It appears to me that both Governor Murphy and the leaders of the Democratic legislature continue to bring up the name of Chris Christie. I don't see Chris Christie anywhere in Trenton, nor do I see him advocating any increase in any of the taxes. So let's make this simple. Both sides, the administration and the leaders of the legislature on the Democratic side, are fighting over raising taxes. And in the middle of this fight, they want to call each other names, especially the former governor. I think it's about 6 months now that Governor Christie's been gone. But I guess because he was against taxes, that people who are for taxes are somehow connected to Chris Christie. I don't see the logic, so I want to make it clear for the people out there in New Jersey. Governor Murphy won. His goal was to raise taxes. He's working on that goal. He's not getting the cooperation of the leaders in the legislature because they want to raise different taxes. I really think they like to keep this all a secret because they don't want the public to know that the fight is over raising taxes. So they're trying to blur the lines by saying Chris Christie, Chris Christie, Chris Christie. I'm surprised they haven't said Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. If those don't work, I guess they'll use some sort of other mechanism to avoid the simple question. Which taxes do the Democrats think are the best taxes? That's the fight. We think that there are no best taxes. What there are many reforms they fail to talk about. And I have with me today the budget officer as well as the conference leader. And I think we're unified. And basically we want to say to the public, don't be blinded by this Chris Christie talk. Don't be blinded by Phil Murphy saying things are different in Trenton. I'm going to make things different. You bet he's making things different. He's making them different by raising taxes again. It's really an old plan reinvented by the new governor. This is nothing new. Maybe he hasn't been here long enough to know this is old school stuff. This is the stuff that put New Jersey in the position that it's in. And that's why I want to turn it over to the conference leader, and then he'll turn it over to the budget officer.
Thank you, Leader. You know, a lot of people say that the minority really has no power, right? And that we are inconsequential down here. Well, let me tell you, I think the reason that the Democrats are fighting over which tax to raise is because from the moment that Governor Murphy got elected, we have been fighting against this tax and spend policies that he ran on. And we brought it to the public how detrimental it would be to have all of these taxes raised. And I think that sent a message to the Democrats, and I think they're concerned about raising taxes because they know we continue to talk about how unaffordable it is in New Jersey and why everybody is leaving. You know, you can't go anywhere today without talking to somebody who's not making a plan to leave New Jersey. And they have to be hearing the same thing. And that's why they are in a dead heat battle, because they are concerned about who they are going to raise taxes on the most and what type of backlash they are going to receive. And they're worried about it because the minority party, the Republicans, have been making this priority number one. And I can tell you as conference leader in our caucus that we are completely unified. There is not one vote in our caucus for increasing taxes on our residents. They can't afford it anymore. They won't tolerate it anymore. And if the Democrats keep going down this path, they are going to find out exactly what it means when they all have to stand for re-election again and explain to the voters why New Jersey has become even more unaffordable than it already is. So now I'll turn it over to our budget officer.
Thank you, Leader. I guess one would say that one of the definitions of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. This has been tried before. Raising taxes has been tried before, and spending through the roof, and never could have enough money to spend and never could tax enough. The fight is interesting to watch. It's almost insane to watch. Both sides disagree with each other, and I said this the other day in an op-ed. They're both right. Neither tax is the right one to raise, because we should be looking for substantive reform in New Jersey to save money on property taxes. It's killing people. And yet we stand around in these halls waiting and waiting for something to happen. Maybe we should go back into some committees and start working on substantive change to save money across the board on pension reform, healthcare reform, where we could really help our taxpayers. Instead of looking for, in every corner of everything done in the state, finding another tax to raise. It's like going around searching for mouse droppings in every corner just to scoop them up and take that money and throw it into the coffers to try and keep up with the spending monster that the Democrats have created here in Trenton. So we're going to stay unified, and I can tell you that if there is a state shutdown, which it looks more and more likely to be, it's because they can't decide what tax to raise. And quite frankly, if you really look at their budgets and dig down deep, there's very little difference in the amount of money they want to spend. They just have it allocated in a different way. It's not much more than $100 and some million difference. So I suggest that we get back to work on the substantive issues and stop worrying about who we're going to tax or how we're going to tax them. I'm afraid to cut my lawn because they may try and tax me for mowing my own grass, for God's sake. So with that, I guess.
You know, what I think is interesting is Governor Murphy is trying to indicate that he's come down to Trenton, and he's going to fix Trenton because Trenton has not been forthright. Well, he might have forgotten that the Democrats have been in charge of the legislature since 2003. So I'm assuming that he thinks not only that the Democrats have done a bad job, but the Christie administration was bad. But before Christie, there were Democratic governors, including Governor Cody and Governor McGreevey and Governor Corzine. So I assume he's bringing the answer to Trenton, and his answer is, look, enough with this nonsense. The fact of the matter is that the Democrats in the legislature are trying to find a solution. They're trying to find a solution, even though it's part of raising the taxes. And he goes, no, I want something completely new, and that's more taxes. Happy to answer any questions. Yeah, Matt.
5 years ago, John, I think it was the same room where I heard you say that you had invented a new term for the Democrats, Corzine Democrats.
Right.
And now you're saying they're trying to, bring up Chris Christie's name in an effort to distract. So I got to ask, 5 years ago, not to mention the governor for all 8 years frequently brought up John Corzine. So, when you were doing it, were you trying to distract from Governor Christie's record?
No, I was trying to say that Corzine Democrats were Democrats who raised taxes. And I wanted to make sure that the Democrats in the legislature would not escape the history of their tax increases. Now, he's saying that you're acting like Chris Christie. I want to know in what way. Because the Democrats passed the budget. Christie could not sign a budget unless the Democrats had passed the budget. They had the majority. So you tell me what the allegation is against Chris Christie when it was a Democratic legislature passing the budget. My position was Corzine raised taxes. I remember it was over 100 taxes. I was reminding people how the Democrats played the game. They continue to play the same game with a brief 8-year intermission. So what are they saying about Chris Christie? They're not that clear. They're just throwing a name up there. What did Chris Christie do that the Democrats didn't comply with? Happy to answer questions. I like the Chris Christie questions.
Governor Murphy gave us a list of items that he finds to be not reliable in the legislature's budget that was passed on Thursday. They total up to $855 million. He said one of his possible options is to just take that $855 million out of the budget and move on. Is that, of all the different options on the table, the one that you find most palatable?
You mean he's talking about line item?
So
Line up?
cut $855 million in spending out of the $36.5 billion bill that was passed.
Yeah, I like spending
No corporate
cuts.
income tax and just walk away.
Yeah, oh,
Okay.
As long as they're not done in
Yeah.
a vindictive
I mean,
way,
look,
I would say.
I think that, any time that we can reduce the size of state government, reduce the size of the budget, and eliminate a massive corporate business tax that would be the highest in the country, that would certainly be a move in the right direction. So yeah, I think if that occurs, then all of our arguments that we've made as a Republican Party have worked.
So he's gonna threaten to cut spending. I'm good. Yeah.
As I said earlier, there are spending cuts to be had if we get to work, get to the table, and create some substantive reforms. We've been talking about reforming the healthcare programs, which are platinum compared to the workforce of the private sector, who's already gone through this process, and pension reform, who's gone through this process. And there's also the sick day payouts that can help the locals out. I mean, you could sustain those cuts if he wants to go to work, have us get back to work, and implement those types of changes. And there's probably more. So if he makes the cuts, at least we're locked at a lower number, protecting taxpayers. I'll go with that.
You gotta think that in order to threaten another Democrat, the threat is, we're gonna limit spending. You don't stop it, we're gonna cut spending. I don't think that's a threat to Republicans.
Assemblyman Bucco, are you confident that your caucus is completely united? Because, I mean, I saw a story today where Michael Patrick Carroll said he wants Republicans to join in an override vote of Murphy.
Well,
Which would essentially be a vote for the,
No, it would not be a vote for the CBT. That'd be a vote on the budget. But I have not had that conversation with Assemblyman Carroll. I can tell you that Assemblyman Carroll did not vote for the CBT, and he does not support it. And I can't see anybody in our caucus. I've spoken to every one of our members, and it doesn't seem to me that any of them are in support of raising taxes.
so is an override still an option? Like, would Republicans consider an override vote to vote with the legislative budget option?
I think we'd have to take a look at that and discuss it as a caucus and determine what's best for the folks that we represent.
my experience has been, at the end of the day, the Democrats normally solve this problem, or they just, you know, most of the time, that's been my experience since 2003. They fight, then they come together and they raise taxes.
It seemed like one of the other options for the governor, other than line item 185 mil, was to come to some sort of consensus with the Democrats in the legislature on some sort of tax increase mix. Now, the public's faced either with a budget with a tax increase in that case or a government shutdown. That's a pretty bad option.
I agree with that. But,
Yeah, it's too bad we're not at the table to change that.
no, you're saying that if they don't compromise, then you have a government shutdown. Fine. As opposed to the third option, which is cutting expenses, cutting spending, and not raising taxes. So that option is not on the table, so I won't take either A or B, and my suggestion, I'll vote for C. All I can tell you is, in conclusion, they do not want the public to see what's going on in Trenton. Because when the public sees that the fight is over higher taxes, the public is not going to be happy with Democratic leadership. And in 2019, I can tell you right now, I will be reminding the voters, when the Assembly is on top of the ticket, that the fight in Trenton with one-party rule was which tax to raise. That was the fight, that was the argument, and I can assure you I'll be reminding the voters come November 2019. And others running this year will be reminding the voters in other elections about what's happening here.